are on. Call this meeting to order December 16th at 6 o'clock. We ask for disclosure of pecuniary interest, if any. Seeing none, I'll ask for the adoption of the agenda, moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council in Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adopt the agenda for the December 16, 2000 meeting. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Now, we would like to make a presentation. And we will ask Rita Patterson to come up, and I would like to make a presentation. And the reason for the presentation is because there was a shopper, spot shopper, whatever. What do they call them?
Yeah, they call it the mystery shopper.
Mystery shopper.
Something like that.
That goes all over Ontario, checking out all the tourist bureaus. And you were on the day that you got 100% everything correct. It
was 99%.
99, well, whatever, 199. Yeah. And I will come around.
I think this is a little overkill.
And nothing's overkill when it's a volunteer, trust me. It's not an overkill. So on behalf of Council, I would like to present you with this congratulative certificate. It's very hard for me to say all that stuff.
Well, thanks, Council. And again, all I did was talk a lot.
That's what we're looking for.
That happens a lot.
We need that when we're selling our township.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Rita.
Here.
Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna put my arm around her.
Oh, we have to hold this up. We just can't up.
But we can put that in front of us and we can do whatever we want. Oh, God, let's do this. We don't do this. You see, we don't do this.
Can you hold it backward?
Yes.
There you go. There.
I hope it doesn't rip. This is pretty complicated. Thank you. If you want another.
Oh, smile.
He always wants to.
Guess what didn't turn out? Thank you.
Now we move on to environmental services. Moving on to environmental services. Councillor Darrell. Oh, it's yours. I think you should. Okay. Right on. The mic's on for you.
Just so the media, Chris, can you grab Darrell's name, please? Just so that if the media takes a picture that.
Just her.
Okay, I'll call this Environmental Services Committee meeting to order, and I'll turn it over to Matt then, from BEI.
All right, thank you. So the package that you have for this evening is, for the most part, it's a repeat of what I showed to you middle of November, at least for the first few pages. The intent there is, I think there was one or two councillors that might have been away that meeting, and I just wanted to give an opportunity to go through and ask questions if there was anything associated with that. The first page was an update on the Wallace Drive Phase 1 development, Whitewater Brewing Company. I'm not going to go through and read it all, but if anybody did have anything that they wanted to ask, shout it out. Okay, lost a little bit in the translation. Our circle has moved a wee bit, but the target on the first request that was presented back mid-November was the approval of the building permit for the Whitewater Brewing Company building. That has since been completed. Anybody that's driven past, I'm sure, is aware that the concrete is going in there at a good pace, and maybe slowing down some other projects in the time being. Any questions there? No? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, just the terminology, the township to ensure construction of the left-hand lane. Could you just elaborate on that a little bit? What does ensure mean?
Hal, did you want to answer that, or did you want to speak to that?
In order for the building permit to be issued, we had the responsibility for the turning lane put to us, and then we passed a resolution moving the responsibility or insurance of the responsibility to BEI. But the way that the system works is the municipality can be given permission today. Anybody else has to go through the 3-month procedure. So we just accepted that to move it forward.
I recall now.
Okay.
Okay. Next page was into investigating growth in the township, and some questions that led to, what is the benefit and what is the township willing to do to invest in to create 30 plus jobs. We got into a proposal on this page having to do with BEI installing sewer lines as a private service lateral, with the intent that at some point this would be transferred to the municipality. That then leads to potential for all of the future businesses, current businesses, and future and current homes that are in that area. This page now is new, having to do with the request, and the request was for assistance from the municipality. There's a fair amount on this page, and I guess probably easiest to start at the top. There was this is a summary of the quoting activities that were done at BEI with the intent of determining just some idea of what the sanitary, water main, and left turn lane were going to cost within the next couple of months. This is, because it's quoting, because it's part of our, one of our core business skills. This type of information is somewhat sensitive, simply because it gives away some of our secrets and abilities and that sort of thing. At the same time, BEI felt that it's definitely important to make sure that the council is aware of the costs and the breakdown, with the intent of maintaining a transparency as far as the information that's involved with this. Starting at the top, the sanitary sewer, there's a few lines there that I kind of want to speak to. So the installation would be broken out into equipment and labor and materials. That can be broken out further if more information is required. The second line is rock breaking and excavation of the rock. We have in there 103,000. It's a number based on volume of rock in the area. and a guesstimate on the on how difficult it's going to be to get that rock out of there. That is, just as I said, a guess. It could be a higher number, it could be a lower number. We were speaking with a group of guys from Acon that were putting in a gas line just down the road, just within the last week or so, and they recounted to us that they had gone through 3 pins on their hoe ram, just trying to put the line in, the gas line across the road. So it's an indication that the rock in this area may be a little bit stiff. So that number is, we won't know until we get through it all. Installation, flush and CCTV, clearing and grubbing, all of those items pretty standard for quoting this type of work. Civil design, geotechnical, there's a large part of it that's been done up to this point, but those bills are still coming in. That number is, it's current as of a point in time, and we know for a fact it'll get a little bit bigger. Water main, same deal. Installation, rock breaking. There will be more rock breaking involved with the water main, even though they're paralleling. It parallels the sanitary sewer, simply because there has to be a certain amount of separation between the two. The left turn lane. This one is a very large question mark. We've got down there 79,000 and change, based on a design that would maintain the current crown of the road. In other words, the center of the road wouldn't shift. We've also looked at another design that would require that the center line shift to keep the overall road centered on the current road. Once you start shifting the center line and the crown of the road, it gets significantly more expensive, upwards of $500,000. The intent at this point is to get the cheaper version. It'll be just as effective. The problem is we need the MTO to approve it. And if the council has any abilities as far as pushing in that direction, that would be appreciated. All right, now, so the total for those 3 activities, $467,000. As a point of reference, sale price for the property was set at $150,000. Reading between the lines, BEI is not going to make a whole lot on this adventure. There are extra costs on top of that $467,000. We've got hydro to put in. We've got stormwater management activities that are off-site, that are related to the development, legal, administration, etc. That leads me into the next page. Before I get on to the next page, down in the bottom left, quoting totals have been corroborated with independent figures from J.L. Richards. We would be happy if it's felt necessary, if a third party is required. Be happy to see another quote if the council feels that's necessary. The proposal, BEI to cover the cost of the extras. At best, this would be slightly less than the selling cost for the property. And then number 2 is the big one, municipality to provide for the cost of the sanitary sewer, water main, and left turn lane. Timing and mechanism, that's the question. The last time I was here, Councillor Jackson had some thoughts on that, and I'm hoping that she's still got those good thoughts. It's becomes a question of how. Whitewater ROI, so return on investment, potential gains. You see a tax base potential of, just for the brewery, somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 a year. The future turnover of the sanitary lateral would then lead to increased taxes from Wallace Drive and any of the businesses and houses on the west end of Cobden that are hooked in. The obstacle, as I just said, is to determine a method for assistance.
Yes, Al?
Matt, I think this is, it's an obvious proposal of cost. I believe everybody is well aware of what we encounter when we start doing development. I think, to be honest about it, Chair McLaughlin, this proposal, I think we need a little bit of time to digest, to figure out how we may or may not be able to work with this. And so I'm requesting that we turn this over to a day meeting and we hash it through a little bit of what we might be capable of or not capable of. It's going to take some time. This has to be looked at very carefully. We need a business plan. We need a very stringent business plan in order to enter into anything. So that's just what I'm suggesting.
Chris?
Thank you, Chair. There's two questions. One is, I understand the left-hand turn lane, there's some work to be done there to figure that out based on approvals. But on the sanitary sewer and the water main, would those be worst-case scenarios that we're looking at?
So, no, I can't say that. It's,
Depending on the rock?
I wouldn't want to tell you that that's the highest number, and we haven't started trying to break rock. That's going to be the big question.
Okay.
There's a potential that we'll be able to get on the side of the rock away from the highway, and if we can get deep enough there, we may be able to avoid it altogether, in which case it would go away. It may not be a possibility. Maybe there's a spur of rock in the middle that we'd have to break out. Maybe it's a little bit more.
Okay.
I can't, I don't want to put a definite answer on that one.
And second question, two-part question. Just refresh my memory on, so the water main goes a lot farther than the current sewer, correct?
The current water main goes to the corner of Wallace and 17.
Okay.
Bill, you verify that one for me, is that correct?
Sorry, what was the question?
The water main that's currently in place goes as far as Wallace and 17?
Yes, it goes down Wallace. There's a 6-inch main goes down Wallace, and right there it goes across and goes ahead up towards Halfords.
Yes, on the side away from the brewery, it's on the other side of the highway. It goes ahead down, but on the brewery side, it stops at Wallace.
But which side of the highway is that on? Is it on the east side or the west side of the highway? Northeast. Or north side?
Northeast, yeah.
So we wouldn't have to cross the highway, no?
No.
Just Wallace Drive.
That's right.
Thank you.
We would have to cross Wallace with the sanitary, with the sewers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Charlene?
I have a couple of questions, and I'm guessing that your thought with regards to my thoughts the last time was the ability to probably look at how many properties could possibly connect to the sewer.
Sure.
So one of the things, just doing a quick calculation, is approximately the value of the building. You're saying $20,000 for taxes, but is that $20,000 for all school board, county, and municipal portion? If I knew the value, I've done a quick calculation, just so you know. $500,000 at commercial would give the township only $5,000 a year. $500,000 worth of assessment industrial would give the township only $8,000.
Okay.
So that is per year.
Significantly different from what, yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
whether or not the building is, $1 million, 1.5, you could double it or triple it, but I hesitate to think that it would be that much. Just so you know, that's what we're kind of looking at as far as numbers. And then I would need the number of approximately how many lots, if any, could hook to the sewer. And are they empty lots, or are they existing buildings that could hook? I'm suspecting that they're empty lots. So you've granted access to Mr. McLeod, the 3, so that wouldn't count because that you're giving him those connections.
Mr. McLaren?
Mr. McLaren, sorry, yep. And any other lots, and I don't think there's any buildings. So therefore, what my suggestion was from Laurentian Valley was there was existing buildings, and I'll give you an example. It was the Home Depot installation of Home Depot, and they had to come up Robinson Lane. So all those homes had the opportunity to connect while it was open, or they could connect at a later time for water. So what they determined was how many homes on that area that they increased the water line for could connect, and then determined what that cost should be, and the township paid that upfront cost for those ones that didn't connect at the time. And then the people themselves paid the connection cost existing directly to Home Depot at the time. The ones that didn't and are now connecting, because we've had issues with water over the years that the water table is quite low, have connected, are paying the rate in which it was determined at that time. So the township paid for it up front, and now, but they were existing buildings, they weren't empty lots.
I see. Well, it would, good questions. We'd have to go back and verify a lot of that and make sure that we have the right numbers before we start looking at the ROI.
Yeah, and at that time, and I guess we'll discuss it later, but that, in my mind, that would be the only amount of money that I would be interested in putting towards development, in my mind.
The monies associated just with the brewery being added onto the line. Is that what you mean?
No, if there are any existing buildings
Yes.
Coming up the line that could hook on,
Yes.
that aren't taking advantage of hooking on at the time, that if there was future development for the line that you're creating, that the township could possibly pay for a portion of those up front, so that you're not waiting 20 years for them to connect. But again, it was existing buildings, and there's a number of municipalities that have done that. The developer has paid the full shot. If there's existing buildings, then it's determined whether or not there could be a possibility of them connecting later on, and then if they do, this would be the cost that the municipality was prepared to pay up front.
Okay. So the number of homes that would be affected down Wallace would require that another line be run down Wallace, which couldn't happen until this lateral is put in place. And that's granted. That's agreed.
And there would be a pumping station have to put in.
There'd have to be a pumping station.
There'd be a lot more cost than just running the line.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. As far as what other municipalities have done, I can't speak to it. I don't have experience with it. What I'm looking at this point is the $467,000. Had it been added on to the price of the property for the brewery wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be started. And it's monies that are going to have to come from somewhere, and without the help of the municipality, it's going to be shared between BEI and the brewery folks, which is going to have repercussions, I guess, as far as monies that are, or profits that are made, growth potential, that sort of thing. It just makes it difficult for a new business starting out to have that sort of debt placed on them.
And I can't speak for any of the other councillors, but those are the hurdles that you'll have to cross to change my mind.
Well, if we're as the mayor has requested, if we're going to have a separate meeting, I can have some information for that time.
Okay, have we, any more any other councillors, any questions? Yep. Okay. I've just spoke with the CAO, and if everybody is in favor, I think we're going to have to set a special night or special time for this meeting, because you can see it's going to take quite a while, and I think it needs to be done sooner than later. So if it would be all right with Matt, maybe the CAO give her direction, and we'd have a meeting somewhere at the first of the year, if that would be suitable with you.
That's more than suitable. I totally understand that this is a hard number to swallow. It's a hard number to swallow for us as well. So I mean, having the right information and being able to come to a proper decision is definitely to be favored.
Christine?
Yeah, the January 6th committee meeting, the regular Wednesday meeting is already full, which is why I suggested to the chair that we have a separate meeting. So I didn't bring my calendar in with me. Does anyone have a suggestion of date, time?
I'm just wondering if on the 6th, is it the 6th is our meeting?
Can I jump in there,
Yeah.
Councillor McLaughlin? I can't make the 6th. I'll be out of the country, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then,
I'd love to be able to tell you that there are others that could fill my shoes, but I'm going to be.
that's good. Right? Well, they're big shoes to fill, so it's very hard. Yeah. Christine?
Please bear in mind as well, as per the schedule I circulated yesterday, we already have a meeting on Wednesday the 13th, Wednesday the 20th, and Wednesday the 27th, as well as Tuesday the 19th. Those are already meetings that are scheduled for various and sundry, so it would have to be slotted in when Wednesday's out.
Shirley?
Yeah, Tuesday the 19th, in any event, it won't be good for me unless it's the first and third Tuesdays of the month. I am committed to my job that actually pays more money than
That meeting is the public meeting for the sewer plant. That's the JP2G workshop here for the community input, so it's not a committee meeting per se. Is there a date that anyone could suggest that this is going to need some?
I'm going to ask Matt, at what point are you back in the country?
Anytime after the first week of January. So anytime from the 11th on.
From the 11th on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we just leave it with the CAO to circulate sometimes, and maybe we can pick a date that would be suitable. Is everybody in agreement?
Thursday the 14th, good?
More than likely. How does it sit for everyone? I can run and get my book. Okay. Well, why don't we pencil it in right now then for January 14th, which is a Thursday at 6 p.m. That works for you, Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that then. If everybody's in favor, we'll look at it on the 14th, which will give us some more time to digest what Matt's given us and come up with some ideas.
Could I ask Councillor Jackson, would you be able to put together your thoughts maybe and your questions as far as what we discussed, and give me a little bit of time to kind of come up with some information for you for that date? Is that be possible?
Sure.
I don't want to miss anything, that's all.
Okay. I can think about it and talk to, the powers that be at LV, and I know some other municipalities have kind of done that the same way. Make sure I've crossed the T's and dot the I's. Is there an email address that is, okay, perfect.
Christina's again.
Great.
So now, if we're finished with this, we'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Adjourn the committee meeting, and then did you want to put on your records for the council
I
meeting?
probably should go get it.
Why don't we adjourn the council meeting, take 5,
Okay.
you can adorn yourself, and then we'll
I'd just like to say, Matt, as chair, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Matt. Moved by Kathy Rager, seconded by Terry. Terry Miller. I sometimes can't tell. Be resolved that the council in committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adjourns the meeting of December 16th, 2015 at 6:35 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. We're going to take 5. I have to go get my necklace. And then we will go into the regular council meeting. We're not supposed to do this without jewelry.